Hey, Random, how you doing? And yeah, you're the first one here. If you have any questions, fire away. Pretty good. So something that I'm working on right now, obviously, is the fourth panel, but what I'm trying to do is bring about more realistic animal features and less of the graphical that you'll see with Mrbeast. It's more of an illustration, and this is going to be more of a three-dimensional piece. Fire away. Let me see. I'm 40 now. I've been drawing since I was like 6 or 7 years old. I took a large break midway through after college. I only started getting back into art about a year ago. Generally anime. I used to draw a lot of realism. That was like my bread and butter in college, as you've probably seen in a lot of my shorts. But you can get burnt out real quick with realism. Like a piece like this tiny little quarter of a panel can probably take up to 2 hours. And if you really wanted to, push how realistic you want to make something, it can take 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. When you see a lot of a great person for you to look up, Chuck Close. He used to do these hyper realistic pieces that were massive, and they took hundreds of hours. He had teams of people helping him. But if you really want to look up like the aspect of amazing realism, look up Chuck Close. But as per my favorite thing, yeah, anime. I just love it. I can also apply a little bit of realism to it. My least favorite thing to draw, um, probably still lives. Um, if you don't know what a still life is, it's basically where you take like that pastel drawing that I did in high school a little last yesterday that I posted. It's just a boring thing. There's you can try and make it fun, but there's just nothing to it. It's bottles and fruit and then a curtain, a drape. It's just not fun. Hey, Marshy, how you doing? If you have any questions, fire away. So currently I'm just working on the base layer, and that is just trying to lightly apply where I think I want the fur to lay on Mrbeast's little panel here. We're not worried about light and dark. We're not worried about too much about shape. We're just trying to get a basic layer that I can work the colored pencils with and other markers with. Do not, whenever you begin, don't get so bogged down in I need this little panel to be perfect, or I need this little area to be perfect. You'll see other YouTube artists like Drawholic and just some of the other ones, they'll just start drawing an eye and they'll make it perfect, and they'll move to another eye and they'll make it perfect. They've been doing that for ever. That's just their process. But for a beginner artist, this is kind of like the best way you can achieve a very simple but realistic look. Hold on, I'm sorry, I didn't see what you said there. Random, what was that? You don't like drawing realistic humans? You know what? It's actually one of the easiest way to get better at art is to do forms, gesture drawings. You can get better so much faster that way. Even just drawing something like the hand, that was something that when I was bored and I didn't know what to do as a kid, I would often draw my hand. I did a lot of martial arts, so I would draw like little, fists and snake poses and stuff like that, and I would incorporate a background. It's actually a really quick way because your hand can identify the basic shapes that your fingers have, and you can articulate your hands into all these funky shapes so you can see them. Yeah, I heard about your cats. I have a couple of pets myself. 3 cats and a bunny. Now, since the image of Mrbeast is an illustration and there is no movement to it, something that I'm going to have to do is apply what you like fake structure. So we know the jawline comes here. We know the eye socket comes around here and up here. So you almost have to draw them in. When you're drawing with a flat surface or an illustrated image that's like a Posca image, you have to then, with any kind of realism, define where the muscles are and where the bone structures are. That's why like learning humans or learning any kind of animal is incredibly important, because you need to know where the bones lay, where the muscles, how they wrap around the bones and the tendons. There is, and I'll find it for you. When I was in college, this book, it's absolutely essential. I won't show you all the pages because if you're underage, there are some images, but when you're in college, life drawing and learning bone structures and muscle structures are absolutely important. So I'll just give you some examples. Like, you will learn a lot about how the old artists and the old professionals really did become almost scientific in their breakdown and structures and learning of tissue. Like, that's how they did their studies. This was done on a lithograph. So what they did was they painted on a stone with types of I'm trying to think of it. It's a lithograph stick. It's like a clay composite that you would actually scratch on, and then you'd scratch into it, and then you would take a piece of paper and press onto it, if I remember correctly. And yeah, a lot of that stuff was done either with pen and ink or lithograph. And they basically did this by studying the human form continuously. Yeah, I saw the first one with the glitch. It was a glitch that you did with Sans. Cool. You've been getting a lot better with your drip effect drawings. I'm actually giving my nephew another lesson this Sunday, so there'll probably be more videos, quick ones featuring him, though I don't know what he wants to draw. Might be something Ninja Turtles related. The problem is whenever this might seem like it's very, very tedious, I'm just trying to establish the light and dark areas. A lot of times when we see these shorts, Nash Vibes, Anderson Blue, Julia Gisela, we see like these quick, rapid movements and a lot of editing, but we don't really see that like to get a hair is literally to flick it down and put it down like this in very short, short little strokes. And it's tedious, but it's a beautiful desired effect. If anyone else has any questions, fire away. Try doing something like this. Really with fur, considering you said you like to draw animals, it's just building up in layers. That's really what it is. It's just time consuming, yes, but if you take the time and follow the highlights, you'll find that you'll actually, and you break it down into simple structures and not trying to do the whole thing in one color and then one thing in another. You'll see I'll bounce back and forth numerous times between lights, darks, middle tones, and that's how you build up layers, build up layers, build up layers. And then just subtle things like this when we get towards the end is when you never want a defined edge, especially with fur. So you'll flick gently out with a lot sharper pencil, and you'll get those little hairs that will even go over the nostril. And with the nostril, you're going to add the highlights and the darks etc. And of course that dropped. Of course. Oh, nuts. Rip to anyone who had the headphones in. You should always just draw what you love, regardless if you know, don't worry about what other people think. So if you love drawing a wolf, I can show you numerous paint by numbers and things that I used to do or that my wife used to do. But yeah, you should just draw what you love. And if you draw what you love, you'll actually get better than drawing for the purpose of pleasing others. And normally a good tip for anyone, if I see there's a bunch of people actually live now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. One good thing I will tell you for anyone that's doing any kind of realism is avoid this. I know this is black, but there is no such thing as true black in nature. There are things that look very, very close to black, but most black doesn't have pure black in it. It's usually has a shade or value of blues or greens or reds, depending upon if it's warm or cool. I'm just using a lighter layer. I'm going to go and add other blues, etc. into it, but it is a really good tip. Avoid black like the plague. There's a lot of reds and greens. Even in skin color, if you look closely, there are greens and blues. Don't just put peach down. Skin color isn't just brown. It isn't just peach. It isn't just a caramel color. It has so many different values to it. So, well, it's good that you're putting yourself out there. Also, in this front tip of the snout, I want to add more blue to incorporate the blue that's here. A lot of times, especially in nature, there's reflective highlights. There's It's just a better way to incorporate your objects. Even though you might not see it, it's actually there bouncing off the light of one object to another. Even if it's not as reflective as you might think it is, trust me, the light is there. Hey Blaze, what's going on? You said you were going to be a couple minutes late. If you have any questions, Blaze, don't hesitate. Hey, Maya. It's good to see you came by. No worries. I appreciate you stopping by. Hey, Fire. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm going to keep repeating it. If anyone has any questions, because I'm seeing new people here, by all means, ask away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in for a second just so you can see kind of like the close-up detail of what might be going on, because some of it's might be getting washed out from the camera. Zoom in. So there is a lot of subtle, and it's just building up in layers. And because I'm imagining the light coming in from this way, the light's going to be darker underneath of the eye here. And because the eye itself is a round image, I'm going to make it darker here, as well as here, as well as, sorry, as well as here, because that's where the jawbone lies, so it's going to be darker in this section as well. Thank you, Maya. No worries, Blaze. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be able to get this many people. But if you want to watch the whole thing in its entirety, you can always, after this video is up, I think it goes live, or, I mean, it goes to my video collection right away, but I'm not sure. I'm thinking that this should take me about 2 hours. I don't like stressing too much on a perfect sense of realism, especially because the creature doesn't exist in itself, so it's an illustration. But in general, I think about, sorry, just adjusting back, I think about 2 hours it'll be done. Out of all of my current drawings or my college drawings. My college drawings took me a lot longer. Those realistic drawings, like, let me see, I'll pull one up. So, like this, this was a college piece that I did, and that was a realism study that we had to do for color pencils. This took me, if I remember correctly, about 12 hours. That was three 3-hour sessions in class, and then a finish off at home for another 3 hours. So that was about 12 hours. There's a lot of detail, but once again, the scale is very big. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a lot bigger. And I didn't even finish it because there's some stuff that was drawn on the bottom. This was also another piece. Let me see if I'm getting the whole detail. I didn't finish off the hair. I even have, Yeah, like this took me about, once again, about 15 hours, give or take. But if you really want to push any sense of realism, usually they take about 50, 60 hours they can be up to for a piece that big. But that was when I was in college, and you're kind of forced to do whatever your collegiate syllabus says. So if they say you're going to do, work on self portraits, or if you're going to work on some type of imagery that will invoke an emotion. So like one of our college classes, we had to do a portrait, and then we were randomly assigned emotion, fear, uh, exhaustion, whatever, and we had to tie those things in. So, oh, sorry, I don't know what happened, but yeah. Hi, Chive. Hey, NBA. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Did anyone else? Yeah, that was the weirdest thing. Okay. Did you lose me completely, or? Yeah, that was the weirdest thing. Sorry about that. And don't worry, I know that this is a pink area. We're going to add, or a fuchsia area. We're going to go back and add, but I want to add the textures of where the fur would be. And thank you for the heart, Chad. Thanks, Mike. Have a good day. Also, another really good tip, whenever you're drawing any kind of fur or hair, it's never just a seamless patch across. There's going to be hairs that go like this, like this. So you always want to, because especially more with animals, they have hair that's matted or mange, etc. So you really want to study, and that's how you'll get those subtle breaks in highlights. I will take a picture of this after it's done, because sometimes the camera doesn't record, especially because I'm using my cell phone. It might not get all those little subtle details. I will do a much closer and put it on my community page so you can see all the wraps that I'm doing and all these subtle blends that I'm doing. Once again, I'm going to keep saying, if anyone has any questions, fire away. No. What the heck is going on? Something went wrong. Okay. I don't really have favorites with a lot of things, but I am preferential to dogs and cats. Yeah, I'm not a snake person, sorry. Here we are. Just adding some dimpling in because a animal's snout is textured, and the one way we can add a nice texture is by adding all these little subtle dots and stippling. It gives it the roundness and the subtle variations. And then what we'll do is we'll add a nice white gel pen. Actually, I'll grab my smaller one and add all the subtle little highlights. As Bob Ross would say, not too many. And if for anyone of the younger crowd, if you do not know who Bob Ross is, well, then I am so sorry because you need to Google him. He is my greatest inspiration for art. I used to watch him every day when I was a teenager. Oh, right. I mean, just if you go to YouTube, I mean, he does. He's no longer with us. He had passed back in 93, 94, maybe later. But yeah, he was. I became a painter and really became an artist because of Bob. Happy Little Trees is like chef's kiss for sayings in the art community. So with this tool, what I almost do is literally with these brushes that you're going to see, these black ink brushes, is I'm going to literally and grab the one and I will be now literally drawing in the fine little hairs. So I'll be flicking ever so slightly the darker hairs to pop off, and it'll make the eye kind of pop off itself too. So I like to start with this once again, establishing darks of where all the darkest hairs will lay and work my way back. But you don't want to go too crazy because any dark that you establish can get really overtaken very, very quickly if you just lay way too many in. A little goes a long way. Your darkest darks are your strongest, and you do not want them to overpower all this beautiful subtlety that we've built up. Hey, Evanation, yeah, I did if I remember correctly, it was your name as a request in red bubble, no, melted font, but it was bubble as well, and you wanted it in drip form. My OC, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. I'm a boomer, so if some of the terminology might not be lost on me. And one of the biggest tips that I can give, if you're really striving for something of a realistic look, is hold your hand and let the pen almost fall into it. You want subtle pressure. You're not pressing hard. I know I made the meme video yesterday where it's like, but you really want the hand to just the pen to hold in your hand ever so slightly and allow your hand to just guide the ink out. You're not trying to press too hard because that's when you're going to get solids. To build up subtle layers, it's the lightest of pressure. It's just like a whisper. Once again, as Bob Ross would say, it's like a whisper, and it really is. Ah, oh, nice. That is something that I really do love seeing is the fact that I see Maya and Blaze and a lot of people in everyone else's comment section because I just like to peek in. I might not comment, I might just like the video, but it really does seem really, really cool how you guys have all interconnected. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I really hope that he liked that very unique spin on a name art request. I never had to do a Rubik's Cube as a name art request. And then throw a subtle little flair of a name in there. Before we get too deep in this little pocket area, before the darks get too dark, something I do want to do is... Now this could be the ruined stage or the saved stage. We'll see how it goes. And frankly, I don't care because I can always make it and fix it. And then while this paint pen dries, I will go back over it with some color pencils and add some more textures. But I do want to keep those blacks and I do want to keep those nice little grays. I will throw a couple up here as well. Once again, because the lightning bolt is here, I want to incorporate that into other aspects of the piece to give it more cohesion. I'm almost going to use this as like the lightest lights. And once again, anyone has any questions, please, I'm more than willing to answer any questions that you have. This is kind of like the final stages where we're just adding the darks and the lights and kind of, I like to say, give it more of a graphical feel. I don't like working in hyper realism. I do like making things look real, but I find that hyper realism can be not easily achieved, but it's kind of a very dogmatic process, meaning that it's just over and over and over. And to me, that was one of the things that killed um, my sense of joy with art. When I went to school, I thought I was going to be learning how to create really cool things like ogres, and I wanted to really actually be an artist for Blizzard. When Blizzard was just a 2D company before even World of Warcraft came out, and before Warcraft 3 came out, I wanted to make cool creatures, dragons and ogres, and that was what I thought my career was going to be. Either that or working for Disney. And when you go to art school, or at least art school back in the day, maybe it would have been different if I went to SVA. I don't know, but you're talking 2001. SVA was going to cost me, a School of Visual Arts in New York City, was going to cost me about $26,000 a year back then. I hate to even see what a kid trying to go to SVA would have to pay today. It's disgusting. And that's one of the reasons why I've created this channel, because you don't need a lot of the things that um, are going out there right now. You can learn yourself. You can become an accomplished artist yourself and put yourself out there. Oh, that's so cool, Evan. I'm so happy that he had fun and that he enjoyed it and that it's in his room. Art should be enjoyed by everyone. I would love to give away my art. There is a lot of red tape that goes along with having a YouTube. You can't just be willingly giving your stuff out, especially to, according to the US, there's a lot of underage things aspect that I can't just give away. I would love to give away my art, but it can't just be given away randomly. Yeah, Chive. That's back. If I remember correctly, it was like for everything, all expenses paid. It was for your living quarters, your food, everything. But 26,000 a year was just, I couldn't afford it. Sadly, my parents couldn't afford it, and though I really wanted to, it's hard. It's hard for a lot of college kids. Like I said, I'd hate to even see what kids were going through today. All right, let me get a nice dark brown. Okay, and then add the nice little line for the eye. Yes, I do this. I actually, when I'm drawing, I do the subtle whisper, kind of talking myself through the process. Maybe that's just how my brain works. So if you hear me whispering, that's just me talking myself through the stages of what I have to do. And of course I flicked and messed up the hatch, but that's okay, because we can fix that. You won $10,000? That's awesome. How'd you do that? Evan, that means so much to me. Whenever I see comments like that across my channel, I don't mean that facetiously, like meaning flippantly. Um, I truly, really do mean when someone says that they love my art or they think that I'm their favorite, or I'm the best artist. First off, I'm not the best artist, but that's more than a compliment in and of itself. I do really, really mean that. It means a lot to me. It will be the bright spot of my days a lot of times when I see a random person that is new to my channel saying that they really appreciate my art and that it means a lot. It hits in the feels, as the saying goes. Grab a little highlight here. Okay. And we're almost finished. We're almost in the home stretch. Oh, all right. I gotta stop with this. All right, stuff. I'm probably gonna be ending random. Sorry if I didn't see your comment. I'm probably gonna be ending the stream in about like 15, 20 minutes. I'm almost finished. Elax, I'm sorry I didn't see your comment. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. I really appreciate when people comment. Thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you, Bucket List. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're in the home stretch. It's just about done. Just adding in some last minute things, and then I'll be closing it up. I had a little blip with my internet, so even though it says 45 minutes, it's been... Well, actually, no, it's been an hour. So, yeah. I mean, I could push this a little bit longer, but I'm really actually not feeling so well all of a sudden, so... Right, and I do want to add some purples. Some random dark spots. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate. I'm surprised I actually got this many of you all stopping by, so I really, really, really appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Evan. If you want, you can go to my website, jameskirschwrites.com. You can get the first, I think, 6 chapters of my book absolutely free. So if you just want to read it and see if it's something that you like, all you have to do is sign up, and yeah, you get the book. You can get the first 6 chapters of the book absolutely free. So, and you can also show your parents, so if they think it's something that's not appropriate for you. But it's about the teenage genre of books. So if you're into Harry Potter, if you're into Percy Jackson, yeah, you can just go to my website and you can get the book, the first 6 pages of the book, absolutely free. What got me into art? Well, I'll tell you what got me back into art, and this is a great little story. So about a year and a half ago at Christmas, my niece, who was then almost 7 at the time, asked me to teach her how to do art. And I had been about 6 or 7 years roughly removed. And I leaned into my sister-in-law and I said, I hadn't drawn anything in years. And even though I promised her, I said, of course, sweetheart, I'll show you how to draw. I didn't know. It was like riding a bike. So I had to basically relearn how to do all of this. Now, my muscle memory was still there. It just took a lot of skill. I mean, a lot of practice and a lot of time to rebuild everything. But yeah, my niece is the first art student I had, and she is the reason why I got back into art. And she's the reason why I'm doing all of this. I didn't really even think about creating a channel until I said, let's go for it, basically. Where is my... Always good to have scrap paper, just to test to see if they still work. So what got me into art originally, if you're looking at from when I was like a young kid, basically, let me actually just take a quick drink of water. and then I'll go into detail. What got me into art? I basically, actually, I'll show you. So, I was. I was always into Marvel. I was always into anime. I was always into a lot of things. And that was something that I did. As you can see, it says 1998. That was 25 years ago. Yeah, 25 years ago. So I was 15. And I just loved seeing Dragon Ball Z for the first time. It was my first introduction really into anime. Mainly a lot of the stuff I saw when I was a kid was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I would copy a lot of that when I would see it. So it's not really what got me into art. I just saw it, clicked it, and said, can I recreate it? And didn't really know that like art was a concept. I just looked at it as, hey, I'm drawing something that I really love, which is really like Ninja Turtles was the first thing, especially because 1991 was when the movie came out, and I was hooked. So I was 8 years old then, and the cartoons were out, and I loved them. And I loved making stories up with the action figures when I was a young kid. So I'd make up all these cool, crazy stories about what was going on, who were they fighting, why were they fighting, and really that's just about it. But like what got me into art, that was pretty much it, is Marvel. Yeah, my love for animation and video games and wanting to create stuff. But what got me doing this was my niece. Oh, and Evan, yeah, I mean, you're like the perfect age range for what I write and the characters that I write about. It is very action oriented. There are some fight scenes that do get a little aggressive, but if you've read Percy Jackson, it's the equivalency of like those kind of action scenes. And I'm just going to do a couple little more details, and then we're going to call it a go. And once again, thank you, Fire. If you guys have any questions, I'm always here to answer. If not, you can always comment on any of my things. I always try to respond to every single person that ever comments on a video because I do appreciate everyone. So if you comment, I always will answer. And if you have a question, you can always, and you maybe don't know now, but you thought, oh man, I would have loved to ask him, fire it off in the comments section somewhere. I will always answer. Now, before this gets a little too... there's a concept that I want to bring up. It's called overworking a piece. And that's where you're adding so much that you don't take a step back, really stand up or walk away from it and decide, am I just adding too much? Is it going to get what's called the muddy feel, where there's a whole bunch of color, now it looks brown? So sometimes you just have to call the piece quits, even if it doesn't feel finished, because you can wind up overworking it, where then everything just looks like a big blob. So we're almost at that point. And like I said, I will take a picture of this a little bit closer up, throwing it on the community page in a little bit. Let me know what you think. Oh wow, that's so awesome. Yeah, my original book, 2 took me about 4 years because every day after coming home from work, I would write a couple of chapters at a clip, couple of chapters at a clip, couple of chapters at a clip, and I had a professional editor edit it, and it took me a long, long time, but I thoroughly enjoyed the entire process from start to finish. That's what I wanted to do, is add some of these. What kind of games? I'm an RPG guy. I used to be a bigger gamer than I am today, but now I'm just more of a relaxed older guy. So I liked something that has a nice story. God of War Ragnarok was amazing. Um, Elden Ring was fun, but you really had to search for the lore, which to me could be a little bit of a pain because I don't want to have to sit and I just want to have the lore told to me. I don't want to have to search it out. Fallout, I'm a huge Fallout guy. Cannot wait for Eiyuden Chronicles, which is the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series. And if you don't know Suikoden, well, then I am so sorry because it is an amazing RPG from back in the day. Hey Thanos, how are you? Welcome. If you have any questions, I'm kind of almost wrapping up, but if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help. With storytelling, the biggest thing I can tell you, Chive, is always ask yourself at any given moment in any scene the basic questions that you'll learn in any English classes: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who is this scene about? What's going on? Where is it taking place? Why is it taking place? When is it taking place? And what is the purpose of the scene? If you can answer all those questions, you'll pretty much have the scene wrapped up in your head. Might be seeming like a lot of pink, but once again, even though the pink isn't here for the lightning bolt, I want to integrate that into the fur of the texture of Mrbeast's, well, beast. No problem, Jive. Evan, thank you so much. That means a lot. And if there's something you missed, or if you're a little late, you can always go back and I believe watch these. I do go into detail or answer some questions about anatomy and some other drawing questions. So if you feel like you haven't had a question answered, you can always go back and rewatch. Thank you so much, Fire. I really appreciate that. I'm going to try and make these more of a weekly thing if I can. We'll see how the interactions are. It was very nice to actually interact with some of the people on a more quick pace level rather than just random comments on a YouTube video. So thank you so much for everyone for coming out. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna actually bring back the name art series. A lot of people seem to like that. It wasn't ironically, my favorite thing. It was more of like a way of interacting with the different people from across the channel. But yeah, uh, it seems like a lot of people want me to bring it back, so I have a very unique way of doing that. So do check my community page, especially for those who are new. I do check my community page because I do try to post there daily, but also I do the requests there for name art. And we're finished. I think that's a pretty darn good completed piece. Thank you all for stopping by. I really appreciate all the comments. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you, everything.